Yet another movie about the nightmare of having children. This is Look Who's Talking Now, and this is Truly Rotten Tomatoes. As always, I am Mitch Gosling. Shout out to my salsa, and with me are my friends. Let's sound off in a clockwise. No, you know what? Yeah, in a clockwise fashion.
So you say this, we're on Skype, and
Skype
everyone could have a different everyone could have a different array of 4 panels worth of human
That's right.
beings.
For example, for me, clockwise is right to left.
That's right. And for me, it's up to down.
Declan, what does your clock say?
Okay, my clock says my name's Declan, and I'm one of the co-hosts of Truly Rotten Tomatoes. I'm the funny, cute guy that all the ladies want to be, and all the fellas are jealous of.
And who's next in your clockwise screen, Mitch?
Listen, man, just sound off, all right? I don't need this.
All right, it's your boy, the H-Dog, the H-Dizzle, born and raised on these rough Canberra streets. Glad to be back on the pod with my boys.
I feel like every intro you give more information. Like you just said where you were born and raised. Is that part of the bio now?
I'm gluten intolerant.
It better be
my
true.
My birthday is in September, but I'll never tell which day. Shout out to my tomatards.
I like how we're rolling with that.
Really tacked that on at the end.
I think that was mine as well.
It was. I stole it. I can't remember who my fans are. They're the Haydenologists or the Haydochondriacs.
The Haydochondriacs.
Anyway, let's go with Morgan next.
And Morgan, yeah, let's get a whoa. Can all right, just fucking go, Morgan. All right. Sorry, I really.
It's me. It's Morgan, the cunning one of the gang. The one. Speaking of clocks, do you guys remember the Rocket Clock theme song from Play School?
It was wild.
Yes.
That was so sick.
That was Sweet Child of Mine.
Now I feel like I'm just singing.
Breathtaking. And we do have a very special guest. He requires no introduction, but if you were to ask for one, I would say he is a musician, he's a writer, he is a very nice man. I've met him before, and he's just very sweet. His name is Canberra's Nick Delatovic. He's Canberra's own.
That's my full name. It's so nice to see and hear you again. It's been too long.
It has been.
Yes, great to be here. I have to say, guys, you listen to all my podcasts on double speed, so after listening to a bunch of Truly Rotten Tomatoes like that, you guys sound impossibly sluggish and mopey right now.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because a couple of us tend to watch the movies that we review, or rather the tomatoes that we review, in double speed or 1.5 speed. It's the only way to get through some of the movies and I guess some of our episodes as well.
Truly, it's the way. I mean, the thing is, human beings on double speed are all pithy geniuses. Like it's it's the type of world you want to live in.
Now, Nick, you've got a varied background. I know Mitch said you were a musician and a performer. You're also a wrestling champion. Which part of your background are you representing tonight?
I feel like my co-host Chris would be really annoyed at me if I didn't front load that I was representing his and my podcast, Rank Ideas, which is the podcast in which we are ranking every human idea systematically from best to worst in a giant list. But I do insist on making it really hard for people to decide how to intro me by doing at least 4 different things.
Can I ask, with Rank Ideas, have you already got the predefined ranking and you've started at the bottom of it, or are you making up the ranking as you go along?
Great question.
Like, is each episode a different number on the rank?
We do every episode. We decide at the top of the episode. We just have a very compellingly disorganized chat to decide what idea we want to talk about that day, and then we talk about that for however long we need to decide what we think about it, and then we rank it on the list. So basically, it's a running list where the second half-ish of each episode is about deciding where it goes in a relative position to the ideas that we've already ranked.
Very cool.
And that'll be the first and last time any other podcasts are mentioned on this podcast.
Ever. Yeah.
Declan explicitly told me not to talk about my podcast or the fact that any other podcasts exist.
That's right.
We will need to censor the name every time it comes up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Can we just bleep all that? Now, Nick, can I ask you, did you watch the film?
Yes, I feel like
The what?
yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm very sorry. For the uninitiated.
Oh no! Yeah, that was a trick.
I am, of course, referring to the vegetable or fruit, a film. Now,
I'm trying to cut back on films in my diet, but I definitely watched the tomato in question for today's episode.
Excellent.
And what tomato was it?
Do I get to say that we watched?
Yes.
That we watched for this celebrated tomato. Look who's talking now.
I don't know who's celebrating it, but I have questions for them.
This is the third one. This is the third
Is it
one
the
in the
third
franchise,
one?
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
the third Look Who's Talking.
And the final.
Third of
the third
three.
and final.
So,
The third and final.
The end of the trilogy. It's like the Lord of the Rings, the Matrix. It all comes down to this. This is the Mount Doom. The ring gets dropped. Danny DeVito stars as a gruff
Every
dog.
question you had left over from the first two. Finally,
so what do you guys think the second one is? Obviously, the first one is babies.
I think I know
or
what it is. I think
baby.
it's the first one is one baby. The second one is second baby, and then this one is animals.
That's beautiful stuff. Now, what if the first one was babies, the second one was John Travolta, and then the third one was dogs?
John Travolta after a horrible
No.
brain injury, like relearning.
it's Eddie Murphy as the voice of John Travolta.
Yes.
The internal monologue of John Travolta.
All right. Who here has seen any of these other Look Who's Talking?
I think, like, peripherally in my very early childhood, I saw these things and probably enjoyed them when I was a kid. I have vague memories of John Travolta doing I describe this as John Travolta at his very sweetest. He's a very sweet actor in this.
Yeah, he's a really
Yeah.
good dude.
I was so glad to see John Travolta back on my screen after a long break of about 8 films that we've watched.
Has it been that long? Jeez.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I missed
So the
him.
first film we watched was
Staying alive.
Staying alive.
But
and
Hayden
listeners-
missed Wild Hogs. That's why he's been
Oh,
missing him
that's
so
right, I
much.
did.
We
I
got a
missed
bit of
Wild
Travolta
Hogs.
in the middle there.
just a taste.
Yeah.
You've gotten some really varied Travolta energy across those
It's
three
crazy.
tomatoes.
That's right, and there's heaps more as well on this list.
There's more to come.
Yeah, later on, Gotti.
But I've seen this particular movie like heaps.
Really?
As a kid, yeah, this one. I didn't realize it was the third one. I remember loving it as a kid. There wasn't much for. We'll get into it, but there wasn't much for me there tonight, unfortunately, when I just rewatched it. But I do remember really liking this movie, and I also remember thinking that it was the second one, but I was wrong.
Wow.
Kids, huh?
I have 3 notes written for this movie, and I think we can start from the first note that I've written here because it's at the very beginning of the film, and it's the way that the film opens. The note is 2 words. It's dog sperm. Do you guys remember this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I vividly remember this from when I was a kid as well.
Is this just the protagonist dog having a fuck? Is that what's happening at the beginning of this film? Is that why we're seeing all these sperm flying towards an egg?
It's the dog. It's the Lothario dog that we briefly meet. That ends up being Rox's dad. I think it's his sperm.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
Now,
They're all voiced by Danny DeVito, though, aren't they? All the sperm, all the.
I don't think they're all Danny DeVito, but the winner really is.
DeVito actually did ADR for every character in the film. He has that range.
He's a master.
And every time you hear like a car drive past, it's Danny DeVito's voice.
All right, so we should give some quick background into what this is. Basically, it's the third installment of a long-running series where John Travolta is in a relationship with Kirstie Alley, and they don't mention Scientology once, even though they both are Scientologists, of course. And I guess the whole gag of the other two and this tomato is that characters who can't talk or shouldn't be talking Well, look at them because they are now. And they're not in a good CGI. Their mouth doesn't actually move. It's just straight up voiceover. They don't even pretend to try and make them do any like puppetry or anything. It's just taking shots of, in this case, dogs running around the street and then having Danny DeVito be like, hey, how's it going, honey? I want to sleep with you and I'm going to eat food out of the bin.
And Diane Keaton as well as the female dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
An all-star
So
cast.
it's an all-star cast.
It
yeah.
literally
It's-
is. There's some ridiculously heavyweight character actors, just like Olympia Dukakis, whose name at the very least is one of the heavyweight character actor names, as the grandma, as the grandma, and George Segal,
Yes.
coming in as is it for like 2 seconds in a dream sequence. Sorry to jump so far.
Yeah,
ahead.
was he a big character in the previous movie?
That's right. So the plot of the first Look Who's Talking
Right.
is Kirstie Alley is dating, I think, her boss, having an affair with her boss, and her boss is George Segal, who, you know, you might know from Just Shoot Me and tons of movies and stuff. And so she's not actually going out with John Travolta in that movie at all, but she's pregnant with George Segal's baby, I believe. And then John Travolta is like a cab driver and he like helps like kind of deliver the baby, and then they start a relationship from then.
He's an ex-dancer turned cab driver.
Gotcha.
So in this one, when she has fantasies about George Segal, they brought him back, like reprising his character from the original.
He looked happy to be back.
Oh yeah.
we joined this family after 2 movies of having a kid who talked when they shouldn't, and then a second kid who talked when they shouldn't. In that we got to hear their inner dialogue, and we pick up the family. They're living in an apartment. The older kid, the son, is like, "I want a dog. It's Christmas. I want a dog." Right? That's what sets the movie up. The kid wants a dog.
The kid from Seventh Heaven.
The opening shot is like this locked off shot looking down this hallway, and both parents are like, you know, they got their hands full with these kids, and one of them's trying to like read at a bedtime story to the daughter or the son, and the other one's running around. Oh no, the daughter comes out of the bath and she's covered in like soap and bubbles, and she's like, get back here. And it's like, oh, look at this family. They love each other, but they got a handful with these kids. One of the kids is complaining, and he's like, I don't want to go to bed. I went to bed last night. How many times a week do I got to go to bed? I hated the beginning of this so much. I was like not into it at all. I was like, oh, this is a real slog. I actually watched about 10 or 15 and turned it off, and it was like, I'll do this tomorrow. I can't even do it right now. But the more it went on, the more I actually got into it, and I ended up quite liking it. Like, It was a lot funnier. Like, some of the jokes actually really landed for me, and some of the lines were actually funny.
Yeah.
And I ended up quite liking this one.
John Travolta was a sweetie pie. He was a cutie pie. It was John Travolta at his sweetest, and he was a cutie pie. What can I say?
Kirstie
The winning John Travolta.
Kirstie Alley had like some fantastic facial expressions. I thought her acting was actually genuinely funny in parts. It's just a shame that none of the jokes themselves were really all that funny. One joke that hit me was when John Travolta's trying to convince her to get a dog, he asks her if there is ever anything that she really can't you remember a time when you were young and you really wanted something?
This was the
and then it
only
was just
good
like
joke.
this Scrubs-esque cutaway to her as a teenager.
Family Guy-esque, flashback cutaway.
Yeah, and it just cuts to her as a teenager running into her room screaming, "I'll never have breasts!" And that was very funny. It got me.
Yeah, that was a highlight. Was that the first time they did that kind of flashback cutaway kind of joke? Because
There were
they
3.
did a couple
I think
more
there were
later
3
on.
or 4. But yeah, I think that was the first time, and it was the only time it worked. The other 2 jokes, I don't think were as memorable or good.
Wait, hold on. All right, there's one at the end that definitely was memorable, which was John Travolta. Like, he's later trapped in a cabin during a snowstorm, and he thinks about leaving, and then he has this flashback cutaway where he's just frozen dead in a block of ice.
Yeah.
And his wife has to like
that.
pull his body out of the morgue and like identify his dead body.
That's a sick joke.
And he's like, yeah, I better not go.
That's fucking sick.
This movie had a real phenomenon of doing like a bunch of classic broad comedy movie devices, but just once each. Like,
Yeah.
like a Family Guy style cutaway gag, a wacky dream sequence that is like out of the ground rules of the rest of the film.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
like it it was like, yeah, we want to hint in the direction of like 10 other ways that the storytelling in this movie could have worked.
I think that could be said as well for the narrow dog vision, which is applied to every
my
time
God.
Yes.
the first
Don't
person
get me
perspective
started.
is shown. So every time we
Disorienting.
see from the dog's perspective, them looking at their owners, it's in this very narrow, stretched, vertically sort of, like the aspect ratio has just been changed to something unnatural. It doesn't make any sense. And it's only shown about 3 or 4 times in the film, so it doesn't become enough of a device to make any sense or even have any use. But it's there. It's there for you to see.
Yeah.
It feels like a mistake the first couple of times.
They don't commit to any of the bits, particularly as far as the language of the Look Who's Talking films. I mean, maybe there was so much of that in the previous two.
There must have been, right? Like, there were so many moments in this that was a weird dream sequence, weird kind of fantasy dance sequence, a whole basketball subplot that I don't believe ever went anywhere, but that, like...
straight to my heart.
Yeah,
it
well,
went
I'll tell you where it
places.
went. It went straight to DVD.
Actually, yeah, that was that
Oh,
really strange
oh,
scene where the
hush.
kid imagined she was playing Charles Barkley at basketball. That was kind of cute.
Charles Barkley, you're just a wannabe
Yeah,
who looks
that's
like
right.
him.
Going, won't be, has been.
Basketball Jones.
I did notice that the first 2 films were directed by a woman named Amy Heckerling, but this one was directed by a guy called Tom Ropalewski. So I think he was probably jumping into the director's shoes. Amy Heckerling, I assume, had 2 hits back-to-back with the first and second in this series, and then was like, I'm out, I'm not doing a third one. But they're like, well, we still got Travolta, we still got Kirstie Alley, let's bring another guy in. And he was like, I'm going to have to, you do some of that Look Who's Talking style. I'm assuming the kids in those original films had the same kind of like warped perspective of what
Right,
adults look like and
maybe.
things. That's a total guess, though. I haven't seen them.
Heckling still had a script co-write on this.
Yeah.
She was one of the things. Also, worth noting that Amy Heckling, fairly legendary career. Like she she made a couple of like huge beloved movies. Like she worked on Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Clueless. She was the writer director of Clueless. So,
no way.
she's got some like just some raging runs on the board.
And similarly, one of the co-writers of this film, Leslie Dixon, has some pretty big movies under her belt as well. She wrote like Mrs. Doubtfire. I think she wrote Freaky Friday, like the Freaky Friday remake. She also wrote Limitless, the Bradley Cooper movie,
Yes.
and Hairspray with Travolta. So Travolta must have really fucked with her and been like, "Yo, come in. You write me something, I'll perform it." That's their relationship.
How did this
Just make sure I get to
franchise
dance.
And how did this film in particular fare at the box office? Was this one well received?
Not well.
I mean, obviously it wasn't.
Nah.
It's a 0%er, but
It only made 10 million at the box office, and its
Ouch.
budget was 22. So it didn't even get half of its
$22
money back.
million. Jesus Christ.
I feel like this movie's most famous for being the movie that people use as the shorthand for the nadir that Travolta's career was in just before he got cast in Pulp Fiction.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, this is
I thought he was
93.
good in this.
He was fine, but yeah. It's just the bomb.
Less about what he was in than how he was in it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Or do you mean the other way
Yeah, the
around?
other way around.
More
Yeah,
about
yeah. he really got to
He was
show.
good. He was fine in it.
He could dance. He got to do some
You got
dancing
to
in
do a
this,
dance. That was
and he
good.
got to fly
Yeah.
airplanes, which
Yep.
he also is wont to do.
yes.
Now, I'm going to say that you can jump around this movie all you want because it honestly is a mess. Because, okay, this is all I have to say. This is all I have to say. I have more to say, but this is what I need to say.
No, this is all you get to say, so make it good.
This is all I get to say. Make it count.
Mitch's Corner.
I got one shot. This is my free throw. This is my
You
Charles
better
Barkley
dunk it
moment.
like Charles Barkley from 8 different angles in a row.
in time with the music.
Which we will come back to.
Basketball
Okay, so you get a movie about new parenthood. Look Who's Talking. Smash hit. Bruce Willis.
That's
Bruce
who it
Willis.
was. I was trying
Whatever.
to remember who it was.
Doesn't matter.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bruce Willis.
Yep.
Okay.
Bruce Willis, I'm a talking baby.
Pretty good.
Is there a
Look
scene
Who's
where he
Talking
gets
too.
circumcised? And he's like, "What are you doing with that thing down there?" I'm sure there is.
I-
Anyway, sorry.
I hope not. Let's
ruining
jump
your
into
only
that.
chance
But
to say something.
this is my one shot. The second movie is about what it's like, getting a little sister and adapting to a new lifestyle. The third movie is about getting a dog in a recession.
Can we talk about the fact that clearly what happened with this, I feel like this is the big thing that needs to be acknowledged, is that the filmmaking team that put this film together were desperate and committed to making a movie very much about the interior plight of an early 90s woman dealing with the pressures of having a husband and family and dealing with jealousy and insecurity about whether or not she's still attractive and sexy. The vehicle through which they were allowed to make a film was the Look Who's Talking franchise. It really seems like they were like, yeah, you can do whatever you want, but the dogs have to talk. That to me really sums up this film, is the idea that the dogs talking seems like such a token
100%.
disconnected part of they're desperately trying to tie it in at various points.
You get like these pretty okay scenes between John Travolta and his family and his wife and stuff, and then like you hear a voice and a dog is running around in the background of the scene. It's like, what the fuck was? Oh, that's right, the dogs can talk.
Well, there's also the issue that the two dogs have a relationship with each other that starts off sort of like they don't like each other, and then they go out, and there's this thing where the bad dog, played by Danny DeVito, has been destroying the mum's shoes, and then Diane Keaton, who's like the nice fancy dog, she destroys a shoe to get back at him, and then we're supposed to care about how they feel about each other, but it doesn't impact any of the other characters in any way, and they can't communicate their plight to the humans as well. Like, the talking doesn't matter because they can't get anyone involved.
Yeah, that's really important as well, because if you haven't seen any of these, the characters can't hear what the dogs are saying, or I assume what the babies are saying. Only the audience can. So there's just dogs sitting there not moving their mouths, like literally sitting there doing nothing, and then we're hearing their inner thoughts, but the characters can't. And so you've got these two levels of like plot drama. One of them is quite serious, two people in a marriage, one of them who's cheated before, not necessarily on the husband, but Kirstie Alley's character has like a history of cheating. They have these kids together, and then they're having these like, do we still love each other? Can we trust each other? What's happening with Travolta and his boss? Are they getting too close together? And then you've also got this like very unrelated plot that's Danny DeVito as a dog, like just for a long time just on the streets, and then he finally joins the family, but they get another dog, and then he starts like a relationship with Diane Keaton, and only at the very very
the dogs, right? We should state that.
But she's also a dog.
It's not a bestiality film.
Only at the very very end does the fact that the dogs are even there really connect into the drama of the family. As Morgan said, there's like a small plot point about Danny DeVito can't stop like eating shoes and peeing everywhere in the house, as dogs do. But it takes literally until like the last 10 minutes before the fact that they even have these dogs really affects their lives at all.
Now, here's a question for you. Do you think that dogs can frame each other in the way that Diane Keaton framed our Danny? Do you think that that's what dogs are thinking? Do you think that they have like a hierarchy structure where they're trying to be the good boy?
I really don't know.
I mean, I know that one of the dogs was the valedictorian of their school.
That's right.
So apparently anything's fucking possible.
I guess you're right.
In this movie.
If a dog can go to a school, then it can be involved in high school politics.
Exactly.
Seems to be.
Well, can we talk about the fact that all dogs have accents pertaining to their dog breed?
Is this right?
Does anyone remember this?
So wait, you're saying that each different breed would have an accent that was consistent across the entire that breed?
Would have.
So like,
did have.
What would Scottish Terrier be?
Well, are you saying do the accent or?
I mean, I just can't think of what Scottish Terrier would be.
It'd be like a Scottish person.
Morgan, it's
okay.
It would be Mike Myers doing a Scottish accent.
It would be
it's a breed
that
of dog,
bastard.
Morgan.
It would be a lot of
Scottish Terrier. It's a
okay.
breed of dog. Yeah.
Right, gotcha.
Can we get on with the podcast now?
Sorry, I got a bit sidetracked there. I didn't realise. There were dogs in this film, wasn't there?
Oh, I see.
There was.
There was an 18-minute romantic comedy between two dogs swimming in a 90-minute examination of 30-something
That's right.
Malays.
Yeah. So what are the key points, Declan? I think you hit on most of them. Also, Kirstie Alley's, like in the first half of the movie, Kirstie Alley's character loses her job, so they've got financial problems, and at the same time, John Travolta gets a job, and he charms his new boss,
Yeah.
and then like you were saying, there's like romantic tension between his new boss, who's this sexy 30-year-old woman who, I don't know what the fuck she does. She owns an airplane so he can fly her places. He's her private.
She's a big business lady.
Yeah.
She's got a big merger that's under wraps that I assume is going to make her millions and millions.
He's got to fly her around the world to get her to meetings and shit.
Yeah, we can do a quick jump through like the very, very beginning of the plot, because you did talk about the dog sperm.
Yes.
And there is some context to that. It's not good context.
No.
Is
It's
it
not
necessary?
a solid footing, but I feel like the way you laid it out is that we just open to like dog sperm hitting us in the face.
That's the way I saw it, baby. That's the way I saw it.
So basically we have that opening scene with the parents being run off their feet. They get the kids to bed. They lie in bed, and John Travolta initiates intercourse with his wife, Kirstie Alley. And she's kind of like, really? Like, the kids are not even asleep yet? And he's like, I really want to have sex. So they kind of like roll over each other, and we pan out the window down onto the street where there's this like down and Nick called him a Lothario dog, but he's more of like a construction worker type, whistles at any woman that walks by type dog, right?
A creepy dog.
Yeah,
He's a
he's
creepy
hitting on
dog.
people, and he hits on this female dog, and he says, I think he straight up goes like, I got to go to the vet tomorrow, and it's not looking good. I don't think I'm gonna make it. And then this female dog is like, oh really? So then I guess they have sex, and we hear Elvis's song Hound Dog, and then we see. Is it puppets of dog sperm? It's not CGI, right? Like,
it was. I
It
mean,
can't
maybe
be
I'm
that.
wrong.
That's not CGI.
No.
That's people with little.
92.
Maybe they got a
Yeah.
real camera and
Practical
inserted it
effects.
into a dog.
Well, it's a
filmed the
There,
sperm.
that sequence.
talking
I don't
to
know
each
if you
other.
know this, but that sequence is at the beginning of every Look Who's Talking movie.
True.
So every Look Who's Talking has that same thing.
Okay.
I found this one to be the most evident that it was a shit show. Because, like, I felt fine with all the other sperm sequences, but then I was like, oh, dog cum.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
Yeah,
in.
just the concept of dog
Yeah.
cum is just filthy.
and it's not just dog cum, but it's like the sperms are all swimming through the body and talking to each other and be like, hey, I'm going to go over there. They don't know that there's another egg over here. Let's jump into that one. And they're just so disgusting. Like, it really is gross.
They made a real meal out of the idea that there were multiple eggs to be
Yeah.
fertilized in a way that I found
It
off-putting.
was gross.
Then there's a whole bunch of dog babies that get born, and they're all suckling at like the mother's teat. And Danny DeVito's like, I can see wrinkly butts. And then they're like, they're your brothers and sisters. And then he's like, that makes me the cute one. And that's basically Danny DeVito's character, who is called Rox, but I'd prefer to call Doggy DeVito.
I was
Dog
thinking
Vito?
Danny DeVito.
Oh, Jesus.
Diane K9. No.
Yes. How does Diane K9 come into the picture? She's like the dog of John Travolta's boss, isn't she? That's how she fits in.
We have that stuff where John Travolta goes to a really important job interview. He meets his boss. She's a hot blonde 30-year-old. She offers him the job. At the same time, Kirstie Alley loses her job. And so he really knows that he needs this job. And it's going to require him to fly around the world and, be away from his family quite a bit. And we're not only do they have kids, but it's also about to be Christmas time. So that's like a big point of drama in
It's a
this
Christmas
film.
movie.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
There's
It
a lot of
is.
Christmas
Straight up.
songs in
Yeah.
it.
No. It's so that sort of a little bit seemed incidental as well, like the dogs. It's like every 15 minutes you were reminded, oh yeah, it's Christmas.
It reminded me of Shane Black, the filmmaker who he sets most of his movies at Christmas, and he's talked about it publicly. He's like, it just adds stakes to things, just makes everything seem more important if it's Christmas.
Right.
And it gives it like an excuse to play it on TV once a year as well.
Mm-hmm.
Make that extra $10 million that they lost out on on recouping.
Play it around June. Make people really miss Christmas.
The only reason it's set during Christmas is just so they have a reason that John Travolta should want to get back to his family at the end when has to do a job with his boss Samantha and fly her around. And that's the only part that the Christmas part really comes in.
Yeah. The sexy young Samantha seems to be trying to win John Travolta over through the whole film, right? A little bit, and like she's quite flirty, and then she pretends on Christmas Eve that she's got some meeting she needs to go to, otherwise, what was it, like, was it 30,000 people? Or no, 3,000 people will be laid off.
People would lose their
and
job.
so she guilts him into flying her to some place, I don't know, where was it?
Like a cabin in Aspen or
A
something.
cabin in Aspen, which for some reason they have to fly to, but later on his wife manages to drive to from their house.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It can't be too
and
far
it turns
away.
out she's just like she's just trying to seduce him. There is no meeting.
Yeah.
What a dreadful ruse.
Do you guys feel that if she had played it even 1% cooler, she might have gotten somewhere? Like if her plan had been even slightly less extreme
You know
than,
what?
than attempting to kidnap him from his family on Christmas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Her undoing was the moment that John Travolta found that the phone had been unplugged from the wall. So if she had just shifted like a telephone cabinet or something in front of that so that he hadn't seen, that's all it would have taken. Just a little bit more sneakiness, I think. A little bit more sneakiness.
More sneakiness. That's right.
I find that, like, she's ostensibly the villain of this picture.
Yeah.
But she's just like a hot 30-year-old blonde millionaire, and her goal is to just have sex with John
Yeah.
Travolta.
Yeah.
That's
like,
it.
It feels like she didn't need
She
to...
is diabolical.
She didn't need to trick him into a cabin. She probably could have just said, can I just suck you off? And maybe I'll even pay you for it. Like, I don't know.
But Declan, John Travolta in this movie is lovely and good. He cannot be
Yeah.
corrupted.
Pie.
The
He's a
entire plot
sweetie pie.
hinges on his incorruptibility.
He's also completely naive.
A fool,
to it,
an
or
idiot,
like,
a moron.
he
Yeah.
doesn't-
A true
A
dunce.
rube.
I have faith that if I called my female partner and said, my hot boss wants to suck me off and she's willing to pay for it, let's figure out a price together, especially now that you're unemployed and we could use the money.
We're in a
We
recession.
could come to an agreement.
Think of how many talking dogs we could buy.
So, I mean, we're jumping a lot around this movie, but it doesn't really... I don't really care. I mean, it's not like it was a good experience. As far as experiences, just quickly, how did you find this one?
It was on my computer.
That's good. I mean, I found this on YouTube. I actually paid for this one.
I owe you $2.
But I found it boring. It was pretty boring, unfortunately. Which again was a shame for me because I do remember really liking it as a kid. I don't know. I can't imagine what I liked about it as a kid. Because it's kind of like, I think all the good beats and the funny jokes are for the adults. And some of them, I mean, it's been a really long time. There were some, sort of like vaguely familiar scenes and stuff. And the ones that I remember liking were the adult scenes with the adult jokes. But I would have been quite young.
That's what I don't get about these kind of tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's like, this is aimed at young kids, right? Like 6 to 12 or something, I would assume. Why is the plot about like a mother and a father who may want to cheat on each other and like the drama that comes from that?
I feel clearly it was the filmmakers. That's just where the filmmakers were at. Yeah. Again, they were desperate to make a film about their 30-something experience, and they had the movie that was financed and had a production slot and a release window was a third Look Who's Talking film, and they were like, we can make that work. We can get these talking dogs to be the perfect. In a way, it's almost like a European art house cinema approach to have this, seemingly surrealistic device on the outside that is acting as a metaphor for the interior life of the characters. As Declan, you made me see it when you talked about how the scene of Travolta and Alley, him pestering her into sex, and then we zoom out and see the dog pestering the other dog into sex. I'm like, oh, actually, that's Fellini-esque levels of brilliance.
Oh, wow.
Of symbolism.
We're all just street dogs in the end, aren't we? Wanting to get laid.
You know what? Yeah.
Back in the 90s when it was funny to trick women into having sex with you.
Yeah. Or trick men.
Back in the day.
I find like the only appeal to the kids for me is like, hey, these dogs are funny and they're like kind of rude and gruff, and one of them's really prissy and the other one's not. But are young kids even finding it funny that Danny DeVito's like walking around like, you know, I've sniffed a lot of butts in my time? Or he's like...
No, it's not happening. If they're laughing at dogs, it's happening over at those Beethoven movies. I'm telling you.
These dogs
That's where the kids
aren't
are
even
these
hitting
days.
basketballs into hoops. They could have merged those two. We could have had an Air Bud sequel here.
There are other movies with talking dogs in them, aren't there? Beethoven doesn't talk, right?
No, Air Bud doesn't talk either. They just play sports.
I thought there was another one. Milo and Otis talk?
They both
There's
talk.
a Cats and Dogs movie where they talk, I think.
That's what I'm thinking of.
What's the one where they go up a mountain and they have to get back home?
Brokeback Mountain?
Babe.
Alive, the film Alive. I was just thinking of the fox in that Lars von Trier film. That
God.
Yeah, that's a
Antichrist?
That's close to a talking dog. Yeah, Antichrist. That's kind of counts.
That counts. That's something.
I remember when at the end of this film when Kirstie Alley picked up a rusty pair of scissors and
She was on the edge. Guys, I feel like I need to make a full disclosure at this point as a guest in your house.
you wrote this movie, didn't you?
No, but I really enjoyed watching this movie. Guys.
Did.
I found this utterly.
I'm so glad to hear it.
I found this utterly beguiling. I was very prepared to come into for a situation where I was going to watch a film that I devoured as a small child and see it not hold up. But literally from that first corridor scene where I was like, they're so harried. These kids are out of control. And I thought the dialogue was pithy. I thought the actors were doing very committed and game work.
Yeah.
I thought every ridiculous filmmaking choice that connected very little to every other filmmaking choice was still it was a film of big choices. Really, it was a film of ambition. Some might call it several films of ambition competing with each other, but in a way that had me hooked. Particularly, I was already having a good time, and then the sudden third act shift into life and death stakes out of nowhere. In just the most ill-advised way for the tone that was first set, just had me just romping to the end, which as was just pointed out was soundtracked by some delightful early 90s treatments of some Christmas standards.
I'll tell you another choice that got me pretty interested was young kids who are the target audience for this. They believe in Santa Claus. There's the young boy in this who's probably, 7 years old, let's say.
Although he has a weird, fully grown man vibe that I admit I found him kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
He discovers that the mall Santa is not the real Santa, and his parents half cover it up and are like, oh, he's just one of Santa's cousins, don't worry. But he's like, you guys are full of shit. I don't believe in any of this anymore. And it's like quite a heartbreaking, coming of age story for this kid. But are kids watching this and being like, whoa, mum, like what is going on? Now, at the end, it does come full circle and we bring it back and he does end up believing in Santa again. But for like 80 minutes of this, it basically tells you Santa isn't real and that people are lying to you about it.
It was kind of a subtler... again, the only subtle thing in this film, maybe, like his turn at the end was not... Because I was expecting, he'll just believe in Santa again, but it was a bit of a different thing. It was like this kind of nice thing where what he ultimately decides is that he's going to keep the illusion of Santa for his younger sister. It's like the little bit of him being like, giving her an excuse for how Santa can find him with the special radar. I was like, that was kind of... satisfying, but it raises the point you were saying before, which is like this film is absolutely positing to its tiny audience that Santa Claus isn't real.
That's why I don't think these films are totally aimed at kids, right? There's a lot of adult-ish humor in them, and I actually had to go and double check. I thought the first one was an M-rated film, but it's not. It's PG. But yeah.
Is this part of why it was so poorly received? Is it just that
they should have taken it further into M territory and really gone harder there, I reckon.
Once the dogs have ejaculated.
Yeah. I do wonder do you think a film like this would get a bad review from critics if the critics were like, I watched this with my kid and you told him Santa wasn't real. Like, fuck this movie.
I think that the problem with this movie is possibly that it's a bit like it's a clumsy magician. It's showing you, it's a lot of sleight of hand, but you're like, I'm looking in a lot of directions and I don't see magic. We've got.
What about the chipmunk scene? What about when when the family?
Okay.
Yeah, that was sick. I love that.
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
That was movie
to bring
magic.
back the joy of into little Mikey's heart, and they just fail.
Yeah.
And it was upsetting to me. I did not. It was one of my least favorite scenes of the entire film. It was
Again, because the son, he has just such a creepy older person energy.
Yeah.
It was like George Costanza reacting.
yeah. He just
to the chipmunks being mined.
He is not buying it.
he's got. Well, I mean, the child is from popular 90s television show Seventh Heaven. He was the little boy. Who
smiling faces, smiling right at me.
I mean, as a
There was a dog in that show. They should have given that dog a voice. Happy. Was that the name
That
of the
dog was ready to lead a film. All right, how cute was the little
What
girl
they should
in
have
this
done in
movie,
Seventh Heaven is they should have had Danny DeVito play the voice of God. Talking
and he works in each episode like Wilson in Home Improvement, where he just gives them the advice to solve the problem.
That's right. Yeah.
I loved the little girl, just
she
the
was so
actor
nice.
and
Yeah,
the
she was good.
performance.
Julie.
She must have been like 4 years old in this, and she was cracking jokes. She was telling like set up punchline jokes. There was one point where I think she does a knock knock joke to her brother, and she's just like, "Buck," and he's like, "Buck who?" And then she just goes, "Buck, Buck, I'm a chicken," and he goes, "Oh, Mom, can I kill her?" And she goes, "Not before dinner, honey."
Great
Nice
gag.
family moment.
Yeah.
And I think it's a family movie. It's not
So-
a kid's movie. It's a you used to go to Video Easy or Video 2000 or even, God forbid, a civic
Yeah,
video, and they'd have a
yeah.
family section and an adventure section and a kids section. You never go to any of those sections. But I think this one would have sat square in the middle of a family section.
That's right.
Yeah.
10-year-old kids.
A 4-quadrant picture, as they would say.
We have a pre-Space Jam famous NBA basketballer showing some kids how it's done. And for some reason, the 4-year-old girl in this movie is just obsessed with watching this Charles Barkley like NBA old tape on repeat, I think.
Which her parents are quite disturbed by.
Yeah.
I don't think they're fully on board.
I think that's going to manifest itself in a weird sexual way as she comes of age, but we don't need to go there.
Okay.
An obsession with VHS sexually.
If she comes of age,
and she
what do
has-
you think's going to happen to her?
The brother's
Have you
going to
seen
kill
Look Who's
her.
Talking also? The fourth film in
don't
the
know.
series?
It's a dead person talking.
Is
could
that when
be
she
eaten
starts
by
hearing
wolves.
voices? And she...
The Sixth Sense. It's the beginning of the Sixth
No,
Sense.
that's the sixth one in the franchise. The
Look
Sixth
who's
Sense.
talking from
Look
beyond
who's
the
hearing
grave.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a point where this little kid just has a straight up fantasy sequence, basically imagines herself inside this VHS, and she just like dunks on Charles Barkley. No, well, she goes flying over him, like
over
drops
into
the
the
ball.
stand.
Does that ever come back? Because I was like, oh, she's going to be upset. She's
No,
going to like
except
make
I
some
think
shot
that
in this.
her dad
in this movie.
figures out that, or her mum figures out that it's because she loves flying. She loves the concept of flying so much. She's like, "Oh, do you think the basketball players can fly?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "No, they can't."
I do
fly."
remember that, but that's different because what happens there is Kirstie Alley's like looking after her, but she's on the phone, and in the background, her daughter climbs up this very tall cabinet and basically just like puts her arms out and free falls onto the couch. And then she's like, "What were you doing?" And she's like, "I was trying to fly." She's like, "Oh, we can't fly. Well, basketball people fly." She's like, "No, they just jump." "Well, Daddy flies. Yeah, he flies a plane, and that's it."
See,
that
again,
the
this is some genius symbolic filmmaking in terms of it shows it's just such an elegant and neat way to show that the daughter is pining, even though she hasn't been demonstrating the pining for her dad the way that the brother has. Clearly, it's been the subliminal driver of all of her behaviors. This movie is brilliant.
I'm gonna love if at the end of this you just give it like a 1.5 after this deep exploration and like praising the intricacies and the subtleties of the filmmaking choices. You're just like, this gets half a point.
Where do you see my extremely granular breakdown of the use of light and color in the film? Dude, where's my car?
What do the dogs actually do until the last act? Like, is there any? There's
They
nothing
meet up.
there, right?
They go on a date together. They get to know each other. They start to like each other.
That's
even
right,
though they're
'cause-
such opposites. Oh, we should say as well, so like maybe 30, 40 minutes into this, the kid who doesn't believe in Santa, John Travolta's like, I kind of need to distract him and I got to get him a good Christmas present. So let's get him a dog. And he doesn't even tell Kirstie Alley, but he takes his son to go get a dog. They go to the pound. Of course, that's where Doggy DeVito has ended up after being on the streets.
Danny DeVito dog.
And
Dog Vito.
he brings the dog home and the kid's playing with it and Kirstie Alley's about to say something, but right before they get home, Samantha, Travolta's boss, has come over and been like, I heard your kid wanted a dog. I've brought you like this fancy French poodle that's all fluffy and weird and white. And that one's played by Diane Keaton. I think this one's Daphne, the dog. And of course, Danny DeVito's character is just called Rox, which is like the best name for a dog. So suddenly they have two dogs when they really didn't want any.
And they hate each other because
They're a real odd couple.
They call
right.
each other mongrel. They call each other bitch. They really like get into it because it's like, the prissy upper class dog versus the dirty street dog.
One thing that we should mention as well, they haven't made any effort in this film to synchronize the movement of the dog mouth with what they're saying, but there are moments where Diane Keaton like lashes out, or at least the dog like jumps around and the mouth moves, and it's very frightening and off-putting because it feels like she's yelling right at you for those moments. But for the majority of the film, their mouths don't move at all.
So yeah, the boy dog wins over the girl dog eventually he introduces her to mud, and because they go out for a date, and he's like, "Yeah, sorry about this, but you're gonna have to walk through some mud," and she's like, "Damn, this mud's making me wet, girl." That's right. That's verbatim what she says. And she likes the mud. And then it turns out, you know what? If I like mud, maybe I like you too, you scruffy old dog. But that's literally all that really does happen until they both save the day, right?
Well, we were talking about dream sequences before with the basketball. We haven't even touched on the fact that the mummy and daddy character both have synchronized lucid dreams about the other one.
It's
cheating on
incredible.
them. So
It is incredible.
they're having a dream about the other one cheating on them, and then when those two dreams are happening at the same time, and we get to see as well them in their beds like thrashing around having the bad dreams, so we can see who's having which bad dream about each other. Anyway, the mum walks into the dad's dream, and they continue having their dream in a collective
Together.
subconscious.
It's
but
really cool.
They're still dreaming of
They do
each
this
other.
split screen thing where there's the two dreams finally are like connecting and they're both with another couple, like split screen, and then you realize it's not actually a split screen, it's just two sets next to each other with a
That was
divider.
cool.
And Kirstie Alley walks from one dream into the other.
There's moments like this that were just silly and dumb and funny, and there were a few moments like this that I thought were really good, but I don't know, maybe I was just tired or something. It didn't quite hit me the way that I feel like they should have. Because they're cool, novel ideas.
Useful context is the fact that Travolta and Kirstie Alley are both at a Thetan level in Scientology where they can lucidly co-dream.
They can actually do that.
with anyone who's at a similar Thetan
This
level.
this is what I wanted to touch on as well. I mean, at this point, they're really in it, right? Like they're
You mean at the point of this movie being made?
at the point in 1993. That's like, I mean, they're
Hip deep.
Yeah. They're irradiating Thetan energy. They've lived multiple lifetimes. They've gone clear. I'm not sure at this point whether or not John
They have a
Travolta-
license to kill.
Yeah. You knew exactly where I was going with that. At this point, I would say that John Travolta has killed, though. There's something about it where, it's when
Yeah, he shot Marvin in the face. Oh, that hasn't happened yet. That's like in the next year.
Has he got his own hair still in this movie? I'm really bad at knowing when he has hair or not.
No, that's
Impossible to say.
plugs. That's
That's plugs?
100% that's plugs.
He's definitely aged a lot since Staying Alive. Like he looks the way I recognize him kind of nowadays. Staying Alive, he was like so young and fit. This one he's put on a bit of weight. I guess he's in his 30s. His hair could be a toupee at this point.
Still very light on his feet in the dance sequence. He's still cutting it up, and he has a very bouncy energy through the whole film.
We get another truly rotten dance sequence, a samba of sorts.
Yeah, that was good. That was during the multi-lucid dream sequence as well that they were doing that.
Those were some fun scenes. I like the whimsical fantasy, like reminded me a bit of The Mask or something like that.
Yeah.
Let's pump the foot on the accelerometer or accelerator. And fast forward to the end of the movie where John Travolta on Christmas Eve has been tricked into going off to the mountains, some beautiful snowy mountains, to a beautiful mansion with this woman, his boss. She's brought him there under false pretenses. She's cut the phone line.
He's been nothing but faithful.
That's right. He just wants to get home to his kids, but he's doing it so that people don't.
He's been a sweetie.
Lose
He's
their
been
job.
a cutie pie.
So, and he's trying to call home to tell them what's going on, and he can't get through. And then Kirstie Alley does some digging by calling around and finds out that actually he's not at a meeting with this person that she said they would be meeting with because he's in some other country. So she's like, fuck this, we're going to go find this cheating bastard, and she throws the kids into the car along with the dogs, and they somehow drive to wherever they are.
It's important to say as well that Samantha, the boss, has been sneakingly conniving, trying to trick Travolta into, I guess, sleeping with her. Travolta has not picked up on this at all, but Kirstie Alley has felt it, and she's brought it up, and he's like, baby, there's nothing to worry about. You're crazy. That's just my boss. I'm just working. But now we know that she was actually correct. Samantha has disconnected phone lines, stopped the fax machine, or she makes a fake fax, and she's like, yeah, I'm trying to put this merger through, and if we don't put it through tonight, if we don't sign this thing with this guy, then I'm going to have to fire 3,000 people. And he's like, oh, but I'm not working because it's Christmas Eve. I'm going to be with my family. She's like, I need you to fly me to this remote cabin to sign this thing with this guy. Otherwise 3,000 people will lose their lives. And he really reluctantly agrees because he tries every other opportunity to get anyone else to help. No one will help. And so he has to let his family down, not be there on Christmas for his job. But he doesn't know that he's walking right into that honey trap.
Despite just the huge moves that the boss has made, the big bold swings of planning, just the fact that her seduction plan involved donating her dog to the family in an attempt to insert herself.
She really wants to.
Yeah, what is her life outside of this? Is it just that she's had everything? I feel like the movie is positing that she's had everything that she wants up to this point in her life, and
now she wants what she can't have.
also that she just wants, maybe that she also just wants to corrupt the incorruptible, which as we've stated, the movie is clearly made clear that is John Travolta, despite his continual thoughtlessness and tone deaf actions, a la buying a dog without consulting his long suffering wife.
Now I have a question to you guys, and this is a legit question. Would Samantha have been so sexually attracted to Travolta if he'd worn the light-up brazen tie that he had in that opening scene that his wife didn't let him wear to the job interview because it was making noises and buzzing and colored lights?
Absolutely. I mean, if you cast your mind back to the way that he even got this job to begin with, it was through charm and pure charisma. He brought out the real Johnny. He showed her the real John.
Also, though, Declan again highlights just a brilliant piece of subtlety in this in this stunningly well woven film, which is basically that idea that Kirstie, in nudging him to not wear the tie, sets the entire plot in motion in terms of changing his status, putting his status in the story world up here and hers down there.
You could almost make a sliding doors kind of movie where if he wore the tie, this would have happened. If he doesn't wear the tie, this happens.
Sliding ties.
Sliding doors.
Also, just the sign, the sign of that. Really, so much of what his boss covets is the beauty of the co-constructed person that is Kirstie Alley and John Travolta together as an unbeatable team, co-lucid dreaming.
All right, so we have Kirstie Alley decides, if Daddy can't come to Christmas, Christmas is going to come to Daddy. Gets the whole family in the car.
I love that expression.
She drives up to where the cabin is.
That old adage.
But they get to a point where they have to stop the car for some reason, and there's a wolf. And there's this wolf in the snow, and it's going to attack them.
The car slides off the road.
Yeah, she loses a bit of control, doesn't she?
She has a car slide.
Yeah, and she's kind of going head to head with the wolf. Now we
Car sliding
get to
doors.
hear the voice of the wolf,
Car-tiding doors.
the sweet inner monologue of that wolf, and that wolf is
Oh
like,
my god,
gonna kill
that
him.
is MVP of the movie. I love that. Hey guys,
What
it's
kind
me,
of accent
the
is that?
wolf.
I thought the wolf was, to me, I could just be me having had this pointed out to me recently about a lot of pop culture, but the wolf seemed uncomfortably gay-coded to me.
So gay.
Seemed,
He did.
yeah, had a real Sheriff of Nottingham.
he had
and
a
Prince of
lisp,
Thieves
didn't he?
vibe.
It does feel just that little bit uncomfortable, but again, opens with dog cum. So what were you expecting?
That's true.
And closes with a wolf attack, a full bore wolf attack.
With a wolf
So we
fight
should
sequence.
say that
and it's
up
beautiful.
until this point, Rox the dog, Doggy DeVito,
Penny DeVito.
has been eating Kirstie Alley's shoes. He's been peeing everywhere around the house, and he has never learned to even do basic things like sit or stay. But when the wolf is going to attack, Rox steps up to the plate and he's like, yo, you want some of this? Let's do it. And they go head to head and we get a sweet slow motion wolf versus dog fight. Michael Vick would have wet his pants.
Yeah, I didn't see anything after this point. For some reason, this is exactly where I tuned out of the movie. I was like watching it peripherally from this point on. So I'll be very interested to find out how this concludes.
You're ordering
because,
food.
I'm not sure if it was stated, but because the car flew off the road, the family's stuck inside their car and they're about to get mauled by these wolves, and then Rox jumps out of the car to save the day and fight the wolf off, which he does successfully. Thus,
He bites its tail and then goes, never mess with a street dog.
I will say, it is. I felt that Kirstie Alley's choice to drive into a blizzard with the entire family on Christmas Eve was horribly reckless and irresponsible. Yeah. Also, here's a question: why did she bring the dogs?
Yeah, I know,
other than the need for them to be in the final act. She left her mother back at the house, but brought the dogs.
Bring the kids.
Why did she bring the kids? Because if she legitimately thought she was going to walk in on Travolta like banging his boss in a cabin, did she want her two kids to be like,
She wanted the kids and the dogs to see that.
I would too. That's how I would play it.
It's the only way to get a clean divorce is to be like, we all saw what happened in there.
It only counts if the dogs and the kids see it.
Or maybe she just knows that that's his fantasy, and she's like, well, if I have the opportunity, I'm going to carry it out.
Is this movie over?
No, so then Rox teaches the fancy posh dog that actually you're a dog, you're not a posh dog, and you can use your sense of smell like us other dogs. Why don't you go sniff out some help? So she does just that. She goes and finds some police somehow and gets them to come and rescue Kirstie Alley and the kids. Meanwhile, somehow, and maybe I was not paying attention, but Rox fucks off in a different direction and comes across John Travolta and Boss Lady in their house. And John Travolta's like, what are you doing here? And I can't remember really what happens after that, honestly.
I think he's holding Samantha and he's like maybe even about to kiss her. He's kind of like dipping her. And then
he looks sadly resigned to being seduced.
I guess I'll have to have sex with this
He's
woman,
like,
then.
look, I'm 90% seduced here. Like, just close the deal on me. But then he hears the barking of Rox in the background, and he's like, "That's my dog," and he just dumps her on the ground.
And then he has sex with the dog. It's so weird.
No, then there's a second wolf attack. The ending gets so extra.
Yeah, so they're walking through the snow. He follows Rox back to his family, I suppose. He just assumes like, well, if Rox is here, my family's here, so I'll follow him. And you're right, the pack of wolves. So this time, the gay African-American dog comes back, but he's got a pack of wolves with him. We don't really see what happens after that. It looks like they're about to sick him. But it was set up earlier in the film that he's got some, I don't know what it is, like a beeper, maybe?
Yeah, pager.
There's a beeper, and the dogs find the noise of the beeper insufferable.
Yeah.
And so the beeper goes off in his pocket, and it scares away the wolves, I think.
All explained as backstory after the fact, because
That's right.
they certainly did not have the wherewithal to shoot that as a scene.
They had the werewolves, but not the wherewithal.
That's the same way that X vs. Sever ended, with a remote control destroying the villain.
Shit, okay.
And then finally, John Travolta's reunited with his... So I'm really just trying to get through.
Yeah. We're right here.
He's reunited with the family.
They end up in like a sheriff's office kind of dealy, don't they?
Yeah.
The sheriff is like, "Hey, listen to the radio," and he turns it up, and you hear sleigh bells are ringing, and he's like, "Look, Santa's real." And then that story gets, finished off nicely.
Yeah,
the kid's like,
see,
"Oh, wow."
That doesn't make sense. Just because the kids heard some shit on the radio that now Santa's real again. Like, there's a sound on
For
the
me,
radio.
what I really took from that is that the son decides to go along with it, and that is the end of the arc for his freakish adult child character and form and face.
It's a ballsy move, I'm telling you, having a kids movie that tells all the kids who watch it Santa is not real, without having a twist of being like, but his cousin Sinti Klaus is real, so you can still believe at the end.
Maybe they cast that kid with the strange looking face in the movie just so that if kids saw it, they wouldn't trust him anyway. So
There you go.
He spends the whole movie telling them that Santa Claus is not real, and kids are like, I'm not going to believe this ugly, weird blonde kid. I think that's it, right? Literally nothing. There's no
it's
post
done.
Summing up. It ends in
What happens to the dogs? Did anything happen with the
No,
dogs? at all
nothing
in this movie?
happens.
They get basically like there's Rox who has been on thin ice about whether he gets to stay in the family because he's so badly behaved. He gets welcomed into the bosom of the family once and for all after literally all he has to do is fight off 10 wolves, which feels a little bit more than Travolta ever had to do to get to stay in the bosom of the family.
So he was going to be thrown out until he fought off those wolves and proved himself in that freakish, spontaneous attack.
Oh, he also was taught by Daphne how to sit, how to stay, how to lie down.
Yeah.
And so at the end, he's doing those things, and Travolta's like, "See," and then she's like, "Fine, he can stay." So
You beauty, and that's him in. He's in the family.
we also get this lovely song by a guy called John Hyatt called "Have a Little Faith
I
in Me."
love that song.
Dear God.
I loved it. I think I remember it.
It was really emotional.
It really got me.
Should I know this song other than
I don't know.
from
You just
this
don't really
film?
hear songs like that.
Like, is that a well-known song?
I don't think
'Cause
so.
Who is that?
John Hyatt.
I feel like it was in other films. I could be really wrong, but it had a real
Yeah, I
like
could see that.
Wait, was that Have a Little Faith?
it had a real I've seen this over this exactly this type
Right.
of scene in several other films.
Yeah.
vibes.
Yeah, it's very familiar.
We must have been on a CD growing up, Morgan, because I really remember it. And
I reckon you hear songs like that in TV shows. Like at the end of the episode, they have a montage.
It sounds like
It's
something that JD would do a
exactly.
monologue over in Scrubs.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will say that Roger Ebert once said that it looks like it was chucked up by an automatic screenwriting machine. And I would say that is pretty accurate. I mean, every scene, every plot point, it felt pretty similar to a lot of movies on this list. The evil man-stealing character felt reminiscent of Return to the Blue Lagoon.
But I can tell you, Morgan, I can tell you that Have a Little Faith in Me by John Hyatt was also covered by probably your favorite artist, Mandy Moore, and that's what you're getting confused with.
Morgan likes Mandy. Morgan likes Mandy.
How embarrassing.
Can I have a little more Mandy, he would say as a child?
In fairness, she's a class act.
I would say that. Why
She is.
is this slander being directed at me? Why are these false
Morgan.
rumors
Hey, Morgan.
just being thrown
Morgan.
in front of me?
What about
Yeah.
Mandy doors?
Yeah.
Like sliding doors, but Mandy doors.
Mandy?
Does that work? What would that sound like?
what about
Morgan, do your impression of the sound of sliding doors.
What about Mandy Dorking?
No,
Is that a
you can't
thing?
do that one. All right.
Come on, man.
That's cheating.
All right. So let's go around and get our ratings now. I think I'm going to start off.
Hold on, can we just tell Nick we rate the films. We don't rank them, okay? So it's not your podcast. There's no ranking involved.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me that ranking isn't for everybody. Not everyone has what that takes.
Whoa.
Kick him off the chat.
Listen, that is far too much pressure. But I'm gonna kick us off with an easy old 2 out of 10. Fuck, look who's talking now. More like look at this piece of shit. 2 out of 10.
Yes.
Bring him
Thanks,
down.
guys.
Mitch.
Straight. So just a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, 2 out of 10. Let's get these ratings clockwise.
Yes, that means me next.
Come on, go around the board. Look at your clocks, boys.
Yeah, go around the horn. I'm going to give this one a nice and svelte. You know what's hard about these is some of these are truly horrendous films and some of them are just mind-numbing, and this one I found to be the latter. It just was not terrible. The acting was fine. Some of the dialogue was spiffy. You know, I like that song at the end. Have a little faith. But it was really dull, so I'm going to give it a 4.5.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Declan did something really, really handy, and he because I'm terrible with this, I can never remember what I've given. Because similar to your podcast, actually, Nick, I kind of need to remember what I've rated previous films to figure out where this film does slot. Because they're all like measured against each other. But Declan put together a list of everything that we've reviewed so far and what I've given each review, and so I can look at this list and I can tell you that I'm going to give this a 4.1.
Wow.
So just
4.1.
above Jaws the Revenge. Oh, no, that's... I revised that. I'll make it a 3.9. Just below
Not
Jaws
quite,
the
not
Revenge.
What did we
Yeah.
say? We said no ranking, Hayden. No ranking.
God damn
Well, I
it.
kind of have to. It's the
one rule.
Again, some people's brains work in this way. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Expect to hear from my lawyer, and also I'm very proud of you.
That's
All right,
beautiful.
I'm going to jump in next. I hated the first 15 to 20 minutes of this, and I was really like, it reminded me why I hate doing this podcast. But after that, I kind of softened into it, and I was like, man, Danny DeVito's actually saying some funny things here. John Travolta and Kirstie Alley had some funny things. I kind of got into the charm. I liked this quite a lot. I gave it a 5.1.
Wow, so that's
okay.
just below Highlander the Quickening for you. Oh, no, sorry, my bad.
Problem Child.
Just below Problem Child. Yeah, right.
Problem Child's my favorite so far, and then
It
this
is.
is probably next.
Nice.
Hayden, before we get Nick's rating, can I just find out, is Highlander my highest rated films or tomatoes so far?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is
7.5.
7.5. Morgan, what were you thinking?
That was a good
I
movie.
like that film.
was great.
I liked that. There was something a little strong about that film.
If you remember the end of the Highlander podcast, it ends with me just like screaming "fuck you" at Morgan,
Yeah.
because of how high he rated it.
Nick, what did you think? What did you think of this tomato
So
altogether?
the necessary context for my ranking is the fact that after I watched this, I went off the deep end watching other 90s comedies ranging from the family end of the spectrum through to the stoner end of the spectrum, and the thing that I was noticing again and again that has dated the worst about 90s comedies, which obviously is stiff competition, was just how many movies had completely thankless roles for the female lead or the love interest character. Like how many times, how many movies would just have a
just a token character.
yeah, and some fantastic professional actress having to act as the shrewish, naggy one. And never getting to make a joke or be funny, and just trying to tell the main character to stop being as entertaining as they were being to the audience, so they would listen. And yeah, so I mean, fundamentally, once I went through a few hours of that, I came back in my mind to Look Who's Talking Now, and came to appreciate the thing I appreciate the most about it, which is the tour de force performance by Kirstie Alley, which
I
in a
think
weird
she kills it.
Yeah.
she kills it, and it's kind of on two levels because
She has a license to kill.
indeed. And I mean, again, it's sort of obvious that you had some women as the screenwriters, because it's almost commenting on the role that women in these movies get stuck in, because the whole movie has this kind of undercurrent where you can see that she sees herself becoming the naggy, unfun, shitty one, and Travolta's character is completely thoughtless about the fact that his attempt to keep his zany selfhood is stitching her up again and again. But at the same time, in terms of how Kirstie gets to play it, she's funny. She gets to be as big and broad as any comic lead in any of these movies. She keeps it all fine tuned. Like she's physical, she's verbal. She made me feel. I felt like like I already said, I felt like I was sucked into the interior existence of an early '90s failing career woman with a hair-plugged husband who is hopelessly naive and buys dogs at inappropriate times. And yeah, second to that, Mitch's comment about Ebert's comment, which, I don't think, to me, this didn't feel like it was regurgitated by a screenwriting machine so much as it was made by a malfunctioning screenwriting AI that was just spewing so many different types of movie into the one 90-minute bracket at once in a way that I found literally ambitious. Like every piece of ambition was foolhardy, but in a way that I still really enjoyed and which kept me hooked in. And so, in terms of out of 10, I have to treat 10 as thinking about the best movie I've ever seen. Whereas this movie,
the best movie you've ever made is a 10.
Yes,
how does it compare to that?
You just messed up my attempt to promote the film that I've made, which I call Dynamics: Nick versus Declan, and it'll be coming out in May. It also involves talking dogs, but for me, a movie that's just a batshit collection of overreaching things that are interesting and doesn't quite work. To me, that makes it a classic 5.8.
That's a classic 5.8.
Wow.
I applaud your effort at rationalizing this.
I had a great time.
Guests are putting in more effort than us.
I know.
You actually
they haven't been slogged down as much as us.
All I had to do was watch one movie and then show up to this chat. Those are the two things I've had to do. I would never do this podcast as an idea that I would have to put myself through in a million years.
We've been softened in our old age.
It's really easy to do the first few with enthusiasm, and then it will wane.
That's right. Our minds have been softened. None of our thoughts are coherent anymore. We just mumble and garble the rough plot points of the story and sort of.
Seeing terrible films like this, changes your baseline of what a film is. And so you find yourself going, well, if this is a 6 or a 7 out of 10, everything else must be between 7 and 10.
Well, Mitch and I watched this together last night and then followed it up with a palate cleanser, a movie called Freaked that I'd never heard of that Mitch, you put on. That was just tremendous.
That sounds familiar. What is that?
It is a vehicle for Alex Winter, who is half of Bill and Ted with Keanu Reeves, where he plays like a shitty actor that's promoting toxic waste, and then it's got a bunch of classic environmentalist gags, very dated 90s kind of things, and then they get sucked into a freak show and turned into freaks, and that's the basic premise of the movie. But it was originally a vehicle for the butthole surfers, and it's sick.
Whoa.
It's sick.
It's got a very Rocco's Modern Life vibe.
So what you say it's a vehicle for the butthole surfers to do what? Just to sell more records, or?
Oh, they were originally meant to star in the movie. It was like an MTV
but they weren't in it.
They weren't actually in it in the end, but it's great. Hard recommend. That's Mitch's recommend of the week.
Yeah.
Right.
And now it's my recommend of the week, which is Mandy Indoors 2, The Reckoning.
Versus
Next film we've got on the list is A Low Down Dirty Shame.
What?
Does anyone know anything about this one?
I feel like this list is somehow self-multiplying and adding more movies, because I've looked over this list at least a dozen times now, and the last 5, apart from this one, I don't know, man. I think you're just making these.
Oh, dude. All right, I just clicked on it, which I know is against all rules and regulations, and I'll pay the fine later.
What are you doing,
but
man?
it stars, is written and directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans.
Ah.
Hell yeah.
I was going to say, I was like, I couldn't remember who, but I was like, I saw that movie back when it came out, and it was all I can remember is that it was one of the most transparent vanity projects. I couldn't remember who by, but I was like, this is like a classic, like, Taste the Golden Spray, like, yeah, a written, directed, starred, scored, hairstyles by all the same person.
That's so good.
Stoked.
I am so keen for
Yeah, I'm
this.
actually excited
This must
for
have
this
been
one.
like the movie he made after I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, and this is gonna be the best.
I'm looking through it now. It looks pretty sick.
Well, shout out to all my tomato files out there. Peace out. Good night.
All right.
Thank you so much for coming again, Nick. It was a pleasure having you on the pod.
Well, such a good time. Thanks so much, guys.
No worries. And your podcast again is called...
Thank you so much, man.
It's called Rank Ideas.
We can't wait to all be a guest on that one.
Each of you will be on to rank the idea of the other three.
Yes.
I'm just going to be ranking different types of tomatoes, Roma, sun-dried.
Yeah.
But those aren't exclusive.
Morgan, didn't you have a podcast about Mandy Moore called Wank Ideas?
Why am I now the guy that likes Mandy Moore? Is it
You
because my
love
name is
Mandy Moore.
Morgan? Is that
Mandy
the
Morgan.
Mandy Moore has new music out. It's really good. That's my rec.
does she?
That's my guest rec of the week. Get on the new Mandy Moore.
Oh,
segment.
wow.
Wow.
Guest rec of the week. Far out. I like this
Mandy
segment.
Moore.
Can he do that?
I don't think so. In fact, because he did that,
Make Nick the guy.
I'm
Make
ending
Nick
the show
guy.
right there.